Hello and welcome to the Sikkim podcast brought to you by Summit Times. I am Tshering Eden
Rampamamamchuk,
and we are both sitting in our homes and trying
respective homes.
respective homes and trying to record these podcasts on while we are on a call. I mean, I'm sure there are better ways to do this, but we are
I
like
oh yeah,
not
if you have
very,
equipment.
yeah, we are very poor. So that's what we're trying today. And there is so much happening has happened, and it's really difficult to pick a point to start
Hmm,
with.
It is day one of the nationwide lockdown,
Yeah, yeah,
25th of
and
March 2020.
yeah, and the 25th was also the state government's
Yeah,
lockdown. It was supposed to begin today as well.
yeah, it just began 6 hours earlier because of our Pradhan Mantri.
Yeah, so
Sikkim was supposed to begin its lockdown at 6 a.m. and then surprise, surprise, the 8 o'clock address to the nation and it begins at midnight. So,
yeah, so where where do we begin?
so Sikkim did not see the kind of panic buying that the rest of the country did because I think the state government this time was better organized than the Prime Minister's address to the nation. When the
So,
Sampurna lockdown just had everyone rushing to shop. That would be in states that were not already in lockdown, I guess.
yeah,
So
no,
states that
but
were not in lockdown were
mm,
really in panic mode.
yeah, but surprisingly, I don't think we saw a lot of, I mean, like really aggressive panic buying. I think like people did
Panic buy,
panic buy.
but they didn't beat each other up.
Yeah,
No, they didn't do that.
thank God.
Yeah,
And
the beating was left to the few instances of the cops.
yeah, so the state had already announced a number of measures, a number of instructions to be followed, and not much has changed after the Prime Minister's announcement of the
Mm.
national lockdown as well. So we have um, the Russian shops, the PDS shops, the medical shops,
Groceries,
groceries, and all the essential items,
petrol
uh,
pumps,
petrol pumps, banks, and
banks.
ATMs. Although I'm not
ATMs,
very
let's
sure
not
about
count
the,
ATMs.
yeah,
Yeah.
let's not count ATMs. I don't think they are dispensing any cash as of now, but the banks are supposed to remain open. So all of these are supposed to remain open, and they are open. And except everything else, like the government offices, also today, the DC East announced that the government office will remain shut, except for the DC office, the enforcement agencies, and emergency services, emergencies agencies that
Mm.
provide emergency service, like health department. Those,
Essential services as well.
yeah, yeah, they will.
So,
Mm,
Safai Karamcharis are also at work sanitizing
yeah,
the
yeah,
empty
yeah.
spaces.
So, uh, apart from that, everything is shut. Otherwise, the state government had said that government offices will remain open with
Yeah,
skeleton staff,
yeah.
and but I think that is also being cancelled now. So,
No, but that would, I think it's not cancelled because of the national order.
mm,
It is because they could not get the dead government servants to rise and go to office.
oh God, yeah,
Skeleton staff. I mean, it's
yeah,
skeletal. At least,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. So yeah, and apart from that, we have been seeing a whole lot of protests from pharmaceutical company workers. I think before the first one was Torrent Pharmaceuticals, then we had Alchem, and now today we had Zydus Pharmaceutical Company workers
Yeah,
protesting.
yeah.
And so, since I know the story.
Mm.
So basically, Zydus Pharmaceuticals, they have two units. I'm not sure if they have more, but the protest, yeah, it must be just two units in Sikkim. One is in Bagekhola, which is the Zydus Healthcare Unit, and one is in Mamring, South Sikkim, which is the Zydus Wellness Manufacturing Unit. So they protested, but their reasons for protest were, I think, slightly different. The healthcare unit workers wanted safety measures to be properly put in place
Mm-hmm.
because they are producing life-saving drugs, and they are producing this drug called hydroxychloroquine, I think,
Wow.
which is being used for coronavirus treatment. So they don't,
COVID.
so COVID treatment. So they said they want their safety measures are not properly being followed in the manufacturing unit. We want
Mm-hmm.
two masks to be given to us
For each
per
shift.
for each shift. For like one mask is to be used for only 4 hours, so we need to have two, so two masks for per worker per day. Hand sanitizers to be put in spots across the manufacturing unit. They alleged that for just for name's sake, the company had put a few hand sanitizer here and there. So that
Mm-hmm.
they wanted proper sanitation for their buses that transports them to the
Sanitization.
sanitization. They wanted it to be disinfected and all that.
Sanitize. Yeah.
They also wanted overloading to be avoided in the buses. So they said usually the bus is meant to carry like around 30 people, but they put in 40 people, sometimes, more. So since we have to
Wow.
practice social distancing at the moment, they said we want only 18 to 19 maximum workers to be transported in one bus,
At a
and
time, yeah.
at a time. They also said that they needed a creche for women workers
Mm-hmm. Bring
and
their
they
children to work.
who bring their children to work, and they
And now,
also,
because the schools are closed and the Anganwadis are closed, you need the creche even more.
yeah, so they said that is something that should have been there even before, but now the need is even more felt even more,
Mm-hmm.
so they have to provide that. And they have to also measures for social distancing in the workstation as well as the canteen where they are supposed to like stand in line. So there also safety measures have to be put in place, and more importantly they wanted a committee to be constituted which would oversee all this.
Oh,
And
that's good.
yeah, specifically, so the management has agreed to all the demands, and
Mm-hmm.
they are ready to go to work. And they have that was the Bagekhola unit of Zydus. Then the
Mm-hmm.
Mamring South Sikkim unit of Zydus, there it was a Zydus wellness unit. So basically, they were producing wellness products like, I think, artificial sweeteners, like sugar-free sugar, and they were producing, I think, some, I don't know,
Cosmetic.
supplements, cosmetic
Cosmetic.
products. And there the workers did not want to come to work because they said these are not essentials that we are life-saving drugs we are that is being produced here, so we don't want to come to work.
Mm.
So
So they should come under the order in which private companies are supposed to suspend work unless
yeah,
they are
yeah,
essential items.
exactly. So the management said, fine, we will temporarily shut down, and they also agreed to give the workers paid leave. But the
Mm-hmm.
management also said that there is directive from the state government as well as the center, I think, stating that the pharmaceutical companies should go into producing hand sanitizers, and I guess, yeah,
If
hand
required.
sanitizers,
Yeah.
in case there is a need uh,
For even more.
for even more to scale up the precautionary measures, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, it was still, the management looked very Maya Lagdoj, as they say, and they said, for that, if the workers want to come, those who want to come, we will provide safety measures and facilities, and we will sort out the payment that is to be given to these workers also. We will sort
Mm-hmm.
it out. You have to tell us if you're going to come.
Yeah, they'll
So
probably be given some extra because that's what
yeah,
happened at some other units.
Okay,
They were
okay.
being given extra hazard allowance kind of
Allowance. Yeah, yeah. I
arrangement.
think that's what he was talking about. He said we'll have a meeting
Mhm,
and we'll, decide what that will be, the payment and all that.
mhm.
So, but for now, they're going to shut down the unit.
Okay.
And that brings us to the safety of uh, workers of the government also. I have no idea. I
Yeah,
hope
I
they're
mean,
getting, yeah.
if this is any indication, these are not government employees,
Yeah,
but one would have hoped that it did not take a workers' protest
I
to
know.
secure these measures. One would have hoped that all these officers busy with enforcing the Pradhan Mantri's orders, because you see, Sikkim was taking it cool, right?
Mm.
It was in lockdown mode, and
Oh,
there
sorry.
was no panic. But
I
suddenly now
I
today,
just
everybody is holding meetings. Uh, yeah,
no, I forgot one point in the Zydus healthcare unit. They one of the demands was also to stop getting workers from outside the state. I think a lot of workers are from West Bengal also come. So they
okay,
said
on
it's
a
not
daily
safe.
basis.
So to give them paid leave. And I think that also
Okay,
the management has agreed to. Anyway, yeah,
okay,
that's it.
okay. No, what I was saying is that Sikkim was taking it all cool until the announcement last night on national television.
Hmm.
And suddenly, all the districts are holding meetings and setting up and empowering different officers as executive magistrates to enforce the lockdown. Now,
Hmm.
I get the idea, right? You need the lockdown to be relatively effective. But I think this idea that people need to be beaten into the lockdown is not a good option, is
Hmm.
not a necessary option. I seriously believe that. I think more focus, more attention should be paid. And if the administration was not overloaded, like one section of the administration was not overloaded with 100 different things,
Hmm.
issues like the pharmaceutical unit, shouldn't all these task forces, these that have been formed, have already
Already. Hmm.
addressed the pharmaceutical workers' issues? I mean, that should have been done by the government before the units opened. It didn't happen, so let that be. But now, in a situation like this, when you need these workers to feel safe because they are manufacturing life-saving drugs and you need the production maybe to even be scaled up given the challenge being faced by the country, shouldn't these task forces have looked out for these workers in advance, gone to them and said, okay, how do we make sure that you work in a secure environment where you feel safe? We'll make sure that there's no disruption. They
Hmm.
lost a day of production today, right?
Yeah.
Given that the situation is so dire that the entire country has been put into lockdown, can pharma companies afford to lose days like this?
Hmm.
And of course, a lion's share of the blame lies with the management.
Hmm.
But responsibility should also go on to all of these units that have been formed by the government to address the coronavirus issue. I think they should have thought of this before and made sure that there were no disruptions, that the workers were
Yeah.
happy and safe.
And especially like I can't understand how let's say the Bagekhola unit which was producing that drug used for COVID treatment.
Yeah,
I mean, it that makes it even more important, right? The unit
yeah,
is becomes even more important,
yeah,
and you have to ensure that the workers are feel safe enough to continue working there. If they all go
yeah.
on strike or if they all refuse to come, what is the state going to do? I mean, even not just the company, but the state. If we need that drug, the fastest, that will be the fastest way to get it, right? From Bagikola to get the drug instead of getting it from, I don't know, West Bengal or
Yeah.
whatever. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I don't understand how you could not have thought about it or anyway, or
They
maybe
could
they,
not
I
think
don't know.
about it because they were enforcing the lockdown
Yeah, so.
and going
Hmm.
like the routine stuff. They were wasting too much time with routine stuff. I get it completely that the lockdown at the national level is something extreme.
Hmm.
It is something that is required, but I don't think uh, that should be the only thing these people are obsessed over, because the lockdown is not going to save the country. It is
Hmm.
what you do along with it. It is the testing that you carry out. It is the health infrastructure that you build in
Yeah.
this pause that you have received. It is taking stock. It is high reaching out and finding every paramedic in the state, let's talk about Sikkim, every paramedic without a job or without any, currently not working anywhere, should have
Mm,
already been empaneled somewhere and said, okay, we know that this many people are there. They should be busy with those kind of things instead of, I don't know.
mm. I also
So
have a
yeah.
problem. I have told you this as well. I also have a problem with how the people and the media, they are
Mm.
not being provided information. They are being provided, but they are not being provided information in a organized manner.
Organized manner.
So
Yeah.
like you see a West District issuing a press release, then you next day the North District issues a press release about the same thing,
Yeah.
or an office order. You have today we saw the DC East doing a sort of like a press conference, I think, where he
Mm.
was video. We also shared that on our Summit Times page on Facebook. So you had the DC East giving out data about East District, right? But
Mm.
we don't see that from the West District or the North District. I haven't seen that, at least. And why does it have to be scattered like that? Why
Yeah.
can't, since you already have a state task force in place apart from the district task force, why can't
Mm.
the state task force once a day give all the information that is needed,
A
all the
bulletin.
bulletin,
Yeah.
all the orders that have been
And
issued, all the
also be available to field queries because information and awareness is
Hmm.
key to the current situation, right?
Hmm.
So I mean, they are just releasing this information. We also have a lot of queries. We also have a lot of more information about this issue. So if they set us out, if they had a slot of time when this person would be available for video conferencing on the phone, or if a
Yeah.
press conference, if they're
So
really brave and keep everyone a 1.5 meters distance, that is, I think, required. The centralized place to get all the information that you want about the situation in
yeah,
Sikkim.
they should have a, what is, I don't know, media liaison officer or
Yeah,
whatever
yeah.
kind of thing in person in place, right? Because
Mm,
last time when I was trying to get information from the health department, I was directed to ask the health secretary for the information. And when I called up the
mm,
health secretary, he was very, I mean, it was very nice of him to at least answer my call. He
mm.
answered my call and he gave me the information that I required, the basic information. I wanted to ask him more questions, but then he said he's tired of answering these questions, and
And he's got a hundred. He's busy with his
he
medical
was,
duties as
yeah, and
well.
he said he was in a meeting also. And I was wondering, like, I also don't want to talk to a secretary. I don't want to disturb a secretary, health secretary, who should be engaged in serious, more
Yeah,
important matters than answering my questions, right? There should be, I
which is
mean,
basic information.
basic information. I mean, then I also wanted, but yeah, we cut I hung up too soon, I think. But I
Mm,
also wanted to suggest to him that why don't you just put it out on social media, right? Whatever I'm asking you, so that people don't have to, call up, because there I couldn't find that information anywhere.
mm,
So that, yeah, these things. I mean, I know it is not as important as ensuring that you know the equipments, the medicines, beds are in place in the hospital and all that, but
yeah,
at the same time it is also important uh, to disseminate the correct information in the public. Otherwise, you give space to
it
fake
is.
news and
It is. And
misinformation.
centralized information
Yeah.
has to be made
Yeah,
accessible
that
now.
and it's like I'm going crazy. Like now we are at home, we are trying to work from home, and I seriously don't like. I have to scan through Facebook, or I have to scan. We don't even get all the mails, right? Like
Mm,
I don't think our email ID, the work email ID, also gets all the orders and all the notifications. Like it's all scattered. It's like,
mm,
so we have to we go on Facebook also, we to see if there is any new order issued, or if there's any new announcement and all that. And it's so like West District is saying something, I don't know, South. It's crazy to try to
yeah,
make sense out of all of this.
yeah. It is. It is worrying. I mean, these are like this is a special situation, but yeah,
Yeah,
centralized
yeah.
information sharing will make life easy
It
for
is just,
everyone.
yeah, we are not
Will
complaining. We are
clear a lot of
just,
confusion. Yeah, this is just a suggestion.
Just a suggestion, it would make things easier. And I think, yeah, please delegate. I don't think it's healthy for one person to be answering like phone calls from the media and talking
The
to
ministry,
ministry and talking to office. Oh God, it's like crazy, yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
the secretary genuinely sounded tired.
yeah.
I was feeling sorry for him also.
And just imagine if our doctors are already tired
Yeah,
when the disease has not even arrived yet.
I know.
We've already overworked them with administrative chores.
Yeah. And yeah, that's so. Now, today, let's move on to the enforcement of the lockdown.
Yeah,
So,
I think it was pretty, like, of course, some people will hyperventilate over like a few transgressions here and there where people
mm,
came out and were hanging out in the sun and soaking in whatever. We had the sun out after a long while also today. But
yeah,
I think people should not kind of worry about that too much. The shutting down of traffic, more or less,
mm,
there are very few vehicles, government vehicles, and there were some private vehicles also out. Very few.
mm,
And people generally kind of coming out on the streets. You cannot expect people to be locked down for 21 days.
mm,
And we are still looking at it very superficially. I think our Prime Minister and even the state government, I would say, if it thinks it's going to force this lockdown,
mm,
is being completely ignorant
yeah,
of the extremely unhygienic and what is the word? Uninhabitable, inhabitable, whatever, uh, conditions of some of the rented quarters
mm,
that people have to live in, where I would not recommend anyone to live in those kind of rooms for 21 hours at a stretch, leave alone 21 days. People have to keep, like, what you should see some of the kind of rooms that people working at the garages or the laborers, the
mm,
kind of places they live in
yeah. It
is
is.
criminally bad, criminally unhygienic, and it's bad enough that we make them sleep there, but to expect them to kind of spend any more time than what is required for them to put their heads down, I don't think is fair. So
It,
it's okay if people come out a bit. I don't think that is going to spread the virus.
no, no, it's not about the okay thing. Maybe the administration to think should think about providing them alternate location,
Alternate.
um,
Yes,
making other
that would be
arrangements.
an idea. That would be an idea actually.
Mm.
That would be an
Because
idea.
we have been hearing of how this lockdown and this home quarantining thing is such an elite, uh, not a
Luxury.
kind of like a luxury, because not everyone, we have been talking about that also, right? Not everyone has the cash to like stock up for a month or 2 months.
No, but the provision stores are open, but they're not earning anything. Yeah, there is that as well.
They're not earning anything, and uh, yeah, it is so. I mean, it is this locked. Basically, the lockdown and the quarantining thing is so much easier for a well-off household, for
Yeah,
a
yeah.
than for a daily wage laborer.
Or even for most people, I would say it is um, not an easy, like that's not something that people can even manage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think like by now the authorities should be thinking of giving relaxations. So we don't have too many really good ones, but
Mm,
NGOs or civil society groups which say, okay, I'm going to check out my area and find out whoever is running low on provisions and don't have the cash to buy.
mm,
We want to reach them provisions and things like
mm,
that. This social distancing doesn't mean that we just become asocial or antisocial, right?
yeah.
This is required of us to kind of become even more responsible socially. That is an aspect I don't think enough people are paying attention to.
Yep.
And it's not as if Sikkim doesn't have those kind of situations.
Mm,
I think there are a lot of people here who are actually in panic mode right now about what will happen after a week.
mm. Wait, I was talking about this psychiatrist cousin of mine. She
Hmm.
was saying that she works in a psychiatric hospital. So
Hmm.
she was saying she got not, I mean, outside the state. She was saying she got three patients with panic attacks today who came to the OPD of the hospital.
Yeah.
So, and then the hospital itself is also already preparing to get more patients, not just who need psychiatric help, but
Mm,
also later on if the if the virus goes
yeah.
berserk, then they
No,
might
but
need. So they're
yeah.
already preparing. But then, so we were talking about how they are already thinking about, so they are also thinking about providing counseling to
Mm,
people who are having trouble handling this situation, right? I
oh,
don't
I'm
know if
sure there'll be
Sikkim
so
is even,
many.
I don't know if these things are even like, I don't know if these things are being thought about in Sikkim.
I don't think so.
I'm
I
sure,
don't think
and
so.
I said I'm sure there must be people who going through panic attacks and
I mean, imagine if you uh, suffer from depression or any other mental illness.
yeah.
This is a really difficult time. Imagine if you are a hypochondriac,
Hmm.
like pagal ho, and those guys must be going crazy given the,
Hmm.
and they must be like soaking up every fake news, every scary news, which has been my advice to all my friends. I said, don't watch news for how many deaths every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
We already know the situation is bad. I don't need any the media to kind of scream at me and convince me that the situation is bad, right?
Hmm.
We already know that. So don't like just scare yourself even more with every piece of information that comes out. It just makes it worse.
Yeah, and also
But I
to
think, I think, I mean, sorry to cut you there, but I really think that Sikkim should start thinking of, yeah, reaching out, like this counseling thing for people
mm,
who are having difficulty
mm,
with the situation. I can imagine so many mothers, if they have young children, would by now or in a couple of days will go into panic mode.
yeah, they are.
I mean, these children will be driving them up the wall because they've been home for so long. But even otherwise, worrying about the kids, worrying about the food, how will they manage? How will you keep the kids engaged? I mean, by now, we should have been thinking of that level of engagement.
Mm,
I don't know whether it goes online or how, what, something at that level.
yeah,
But we're still talking about you become the executive magistrate and make sure that everyone stays indoors.
yeah, that is, yeah. It it is also. Uh, I was also thinking whether um, setting up of a testing facility is anywhere in the pipeline in Sikkim.
I don't know whether you can kind of have such a unit up in a week or 10 days time. Maybe you can. Maybe the testing kits are, now that there are some new options, maybe the testing kits are not that complicated to manage. But testing is important, but it has to be planned and organized. It cannot be random testing because that will again defeat the whole purpose.
Mm.
If you set up a testing lab in Sikkim and throw open its doors, can you imagine the crowd that will descend on
No, no, I'm
it?
not. Yeah, it's,
They have to plan it out. They have to plan it out about how they're going to go about. Let's say Sikkim gets a testing facility. They have to come up with a plan on how the people are going to be screened and tested. Even normal people, even people with no symptoms. Of course, you've got to prioritize people with a travel history, people with the symptoms. They'll have to come first. But you have to extend it to the rest of the community as well to kind of know where you are vis-a-vis uh, the spread of the virus, right?
mm,
And we've not had any cases in Sikkim so far, but that is even more reason why they have the time to plan and figure
yeah.
out how this can be done properly and
Mm.
covering areas in an organized manner.
This is something that you had spoken about. Oh, why don't you share your?
No, no, I mean that was just an idea. I was thinking like one of the ways that you approach it is the way the military clears areas in urban spaces during conflict, right?
Mm,
So the army will go from a particular strategy. They'll decide which way works best. We'll go house to house, clearing it of enemy combatants, and they'll mark those areas safe, right?
mm,
And that's how they progress. I think an approach like that will be required, where once the testing is accessible and easy enough to manage, the health workers work in coordination with someone with brains, and they work out how do we approach it. Let's say if testing is to be extended to Gangtok, it doesn't make sense to do random samplings, right?
Mm.
You prioritize people, like I said, with travel history and with the symptoms, right? Those you cannot ignore. They come first.
Mm.
But after that, you start marking out areas by which you can cover and start saying, okay, this section of town is virus free. So out there, maybe the regulations can be relaxed a bit, right?
Mm.
And the area can be cordoned off better so that people from outside need to be screened properly when they come to those areas. I think that way you cannot pull something off like that in the bigger cities or the bigger states. But Sikkim is small. I think if they planned it out, that could become the bloody model in by which they go. They could learn. Someone can read up the papers that have come out of Singapore or South Korea,
Mm.
right? Which did really well because they just expanded the whole testing protocol. Like they just kind of reached out to people, did a huge number of tests, and that showed results.
Mm.
Infections did come down. People were, with the virus, were caught in time. They were quarantined in time. Areas that did not require to be locked down were not locked down. So that is a luxury that Sikkim enjoys because of its size.
Mm.
Hopefully, because it still has an administration that can do the job if they apply their minds to it.
Mm.
And I don't know, the rest of the country has a rough ride ahead, but Sikkim need not just do everything that Delhi does, right? Just because they think it's the right thing to do. They can kind of customize a
Mm.
plan for the state and pursue it. It will require political will and administrative courage.
Yeah.
Because right now, everybody is saying we'll just do whatever Modi ji tells us. So if he tells us lockdown strictly,
Oh,
then just lockdown strictly and
that brings
think
to
that
my
that will save.
mind.
Yeah.
That brings to mind um, the absence of the health minister um,
In the run up,
in the run up, and even now, I don't know. I don't see him.
there's no statement. I've not heard any statement
There's
from
no
him yet.
statement. I see the political secretary to the CM issuing awareness videos, what
Health advisories.
health advisories and all that, but we don't have the health minister has. I have not seen. Maybe he has put out a statement, but I don't think he's been doing enough.
It's not public enough if he has done anything like that. Hopefully, he's not done that because he's so busy catching up and taking care of Sikkim's preparedness,
No,
which I don't think is the case. But
and
let's hope that is.
also because he is a doctor himself, right? He's a
Yeah, yeah,
medical doctor, medicine doctor. He's not a
yeah. PhD doctor.
PhD doctor.
Uh,
So I mean, being a doctor, being the health minister, I
yeah.
don't know. Maybe he's like oh, behind the scenes working. I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. I hope it is that. I
Yeah,
don't think that is the case, but I hope that is the case because there is no other way you can explain his. But that's politics, right?
yeah.
Um,
No, it is very sad.
but you would want him to be more publicly engaged in whatever the state is planning,
We should
explaining
also,
things.
yeah, we will talk about Corona in other podcasts that will come. I think we will do a daily podcast since we will be sitting at home, maybe. So at least I'll be sitting at home. So let's touch upon the drama that unfolded a few days ago about involving the health minister and why have you gone
That?
silent? Uh,
No, because I was just trying to think when did this happen? Because it was only a few days back,
yeah,
3 days back, but like
it
so
feels
much
like
is happening. This whole thing is so surreal. What we are living through that seems like ancient history now.
I
Like
know.
who even cares anymore? Like
No, I was just looking at our previous podcast list, and I was like, "Are the last podcast was posted only 6 days ago? I thought it's been like, pata nahi, 15, 20 days."
I know. I think yeah. I think the whole concept of time is also being turned around.
It's
Can
yeah,
you imagine? Like today was day one, and so the dead streets and everything else that was happening around, and I
mm,
was thinking like at least 21 days of this to go is going to be so difficult.
I
It's going
know.
to be so difficult or fun. I mean, like if you're,
Mm,
it's like what do our monks do? Chum.
yeah,
Everybody's been forced into
a chum.
a retreat, a
Yeah.
retreat. Yeah. But anyways, okay. So you want to talk about what happened with the health minister?
Yes.
The health minister who was missing uh, from the scene, I don't know, must have been only a week, but seems like years.
Yeah.
But that is around the time when we started hearing rumors that he's planning a coup and somehow BJP, I mean, it's a BJP coup and that he was somehow involved and the government is going to be toppled and things like that. The rumors were very strong. And then came news that um, allegedly, because nothing is official, I don't think any police complaints have been registered, that he and people traveling with him on that particular day, that was, I think, 2 days before the budget session,
People
uh,
traveling with him, as in, like, so to give the
his
background,
PSO and
the health minister was supposed, he was outside the state. We are not even sure where
yeah,
he
okay,
was.
yeah.
Hmm.
What I missed is like when these rumors kind of really gained ground,
Hmm.
and some speculative reports also came out in the newspapers. The health minister put out a Facebook post where he said, all of these rumors are wrong. I'm still with the party. PS Gole is still my leader. And I am in Guwahati for my health reasons, getting a checkup or whatever, getting treated, and that I will be back and everything will be resolved. So he put out that statement. But the rumors didn't die down with that. And for some reason, the rumors were stronger from the SKM camp than they were from anywhere else.
Hmm.
So, which is when, then supposedly on the day that he was returning to Sikkim, um,
He was
there was an
attacked.
attack, like supposedly attacked. That he and his travel companions were attacked, and then he was kind of. Then shortly after that came by his own party members. Of course, the suggestion was that his own party people attacked him
For the planning the coup.
for planning the coup or whatever. And then eventually, post came out that what fake news is everybody spreading?
Planning a
All is
coup with
well.
whom? Did you mention?
Who do you plan a coup with? You plan a coup from inside, no? With SKM
No,
MLAs
no.
only.
SKM
Oh, with
MLAs.
BJP.
So
Oh, with
plan.
BJP in the background. Yeah. So that happened, and then of course it turned out that statements came out that there was nothing wrong. They're all good friends. Photographs of the chief minister came out with the rest of the SKM top leaders came out, and that all was well. That we are all in the same group. Those stories came out, completely dispelling any suggestion that there was ever anything like
They
this being
completely
planned.
denied it.
Yeah, yeah, completely refused it.
So we,
And what else could they do? I mean, that's what you would do, right?
so
But
you also,
interestingly, although the SKM denied it, there's not been a squeak from BJP, which was supposed to have been involved in this whole game.
I
No
know,
official statement, no denial, no acceptance. They just completely
blank it
ignored
out.
it. Yeah, I guess a
So
blind spotted it.
in the day the incident is supposed to have taken place, you also
Mhm.
had a video from the minister's brother.
Yeah.
He posted it on social media, I think, saying that my brother has been attacked, his driver is grievously injured, his PSO was also attacked. Then my brother was taken by force by the police, I don't know where, and the chief minister, who is also the minister, is responsible for this, where a cabinet minister is being treated like this, and they
Mm.
are answerable to the people, blah blah blah. And the next day he released another video saying, oh, I was misinformed,
Hmm.
nothing like this had happened, and I apologize for my statements in that video.
Outburst.
Outburst in that video.
It
And I
was a
think
meltdown.
in his video, no, I think he had said that there are eyewitnesses also. I think he only had said it. I don't remember who had said it, but there's
Mhm.
supposed to be eyewitnesses, supposed to be, yeah. uh,
Yeah, I
mm.
mean, but that's how it is, right? Then so many other things happened, and like I said, now.
Okay, I can't, it is in today's times, you don't know
Mm,
what to believe. Like, it's hard for, I mean, at first I was thinking this is all like, how is this possible? Like, this must have happened, and they're
mm,
just, brushing it under the carpet, whatever.
mm.
Then I was thinking, no, this can also happen. Like, this completely fake, uh, you know,
Situations.
situations, like, can also
Yeah,
happen. Like,
Oh yeah.
because we don't know. We've seen it. We read it on um, Facebook or
WhatsApp
whatever,
groups
the
and
WhatsApp
Facebook.
groups, and then you hear, no, we've not seen any video, we've not seen any,
Hmm.
we've not heard any audio
It
or
is
anything.
surprising that like nothing like that has leaked yet,
Yeah.
yeah, which could lead you to doubt whether
So,
anything really transpired. Yeah.
but somehow you get the feeling when you see the video of the health minister also put out a statement, video statement, where he said this is
Hmm.
all false, this is sab
Hmm.
halla hai, and I am with the party, with PS Gole, blah blah blah. I don't know, I wasn't convinced.
No, maybe he was. I mean, okay. Without speculating, none of us are very good at reading what a person is going through. But it
Especially
could also be,
politicians.
yeah. What could also explain it is that that man must have been under such tremendous stress,
Mm,
right? Because
mm,
I mean, because let's not deny one fact that many in his own party believed these to be true,
mm,
these claims, these rumors to be true, right? So that would be a very stressful time. He had a whole night of obviously very stressful night he spent, and I'm sure the incident occurred, right?
mm,
Some version, some level of that incident occurred. So that was a stressful time. So he does come across as kind of awkward in that video, but that could just be how he is, or it could be just because of all the stress that he's under.
mm.
It could be that. And in the absence of anybody corroborating it, right, uh,
Mm.
on record, it becomes, yeah, when the people at the receiving end are not sticking their necks out, I don't know why either of us should do it either.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, that was the entire. So you had that distracting you away from the coronavirus. Here you had the coronavirus drama, and then on the other hand, you had the health minister drama. But
Mhm.
in, yeah, amidst all this, the health minister has, maybe we're supposed
Yeah.
to excuse him because he went under so much stress.
Or maybe he was genuinely unwell and actually receiving treatment that he had to cut short and come back.
Yeah, could be
I mean, we
also.
should be told what treatment he was gone for because STM
Are,
itself has
yeah,
announced that all its leaders, ministers, and MLAs will seek treatment at STNM first.
I
And
know.
only if STM refers them out will they go, right?
Maybe
So,
SNM had referred him out.
yeah,
Yeah,
but we should be told that, right? People deserve to know.
yeah. And especially, wait though, like we've said before also, I mean, even the national media said where, when prime ministers go missing, or like we as the public should be told, even if he's
Yeah,
not well, that he's not well, or
yeah,
all of that. So, like, the ministers maybe don't get that much importance, but at the same time, in a situation like this, I think a
yeah, some explaining.
explanation is
But then,
necessary.
like I keep saying, right, they will explain only when you ask them the right questions. In the
Arey,
absence of anyone making the right queries.
hmm.
But
Yes.
I think what was even what deserves, I think since this is an experiment and we don't know even whether this is being recorded or will get uploaded, we're
Yeah.
trying this out for the first time. But I think since we are on the topic, and we should try and keep this short, this recording short, so that we don't waste too much bandwidth.
Yeah.
Is how can you not? How come Assam links escaped your mind?
Oh, we have to talk about it in the next episode now because we've already crossed 40 minutes.
Oh wow. Okay, so just to be on record, I think what happened at Assam Lingze when students who were being sent to a quarantine facility were chased by an angry mob of villagers is disgusting and disturbing, right? There
Yeah.
is no excusing what the children had to go through,
Hmm.
irrespective of whatever the villagers might say. There is no explaining what the children had to go through. The blame, ignorance is no defense, right? So the villagers can't say that we were not provided the facts, so we reacted the way we did. As far as the law is concerned, ignorance is no defense. A big blame also lies with the administration and its attitudinal problem
Hmm.
of not taking people into confidence.
Hmm.
You don't spring these, you know, the kind of paranoia in the
Yeah.
air.
Yeah.
You don't spring surprises on the people. You
Okay.
take them into confidence. If they don't listen, you force them to understand what you're saying, but you don't ignore them.
Yeah.
That
So
I
we
think
need to
is
wrap it
really
up.
disturbing. And on that note, and with a prayer that everybody stays safe and this gets recorded, this is
Yeah.
Pema Wangchuk
Signing off.
signing off.
This is Tshering Eden. See you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.